this episode, we talk about suicide, suicidal thoughts, and mental health struggles. If you are ever struggling with any of these things, we urge you to reach out to a professional or somebody that you trust. We will link support down below, and we are always here for you.
I'm not going to be just told like, oh, women are so hormonal. You're like, yeah, I actually am. Let me sit you down and give you a TED talk on why I'm so hormonal.
Because I was in the menopause, I was in the worst place ever. I was like, wanted to kill everyone in my family. I was having panic attacks. I was depressed.
When you're struggling with your health, the added admin of that is really hard.
I've left so many doctors' appointments, no, it's fine. I'm walking away and then getting in the car crying, thinking it's not fine.
Welcome to the Hormonal Hotline podcast with me, Ellisha Blake, the podcast where we talk about all the things that would usually stay in a group chat, but there are no boundaries here. We're having raw, honest, and open conversations, and I want to thank you so much for being here. Let's get to it. Hello and welcome back to the Hormonal Hotline with me, Ellisha Blake. I'm very excited for today's episode. We're talking about sustainability in menstrual health. We're talking about period pants, and I have the honour of sitting with the co-founders of my absolute favourite period pant brand, Nixi Body. I am here today with Coni and Kelly.
Hi. I feel like we're sat so far away that we look like we've
spent a lot of time together this week.
Fallout, the business has fallen apart.
You're social distancing.
Back in 2020.
Yeah, literally. I love it. How are you both?
Good.
Good.
Very happy to be here. It's nice to be just chilling out and chatting periods.
I feel like I'm here with period pant loyalty. No, quite honestly. And Coni, I met you, last year at the Holland & Barrett event?
Yeah. Or did we meet before? No. A few things, yeah. Our paths crossed a few times.
Yeah, and I feel like you might have been there, Kelly.
I was there, yeah.
Really
I do remember you.
Paths.
You were doing lots of exercising, weren't you? There was a big workout thing.
Oh, yeah.
That was
And I was newly pregnant.
Yes.
And it was a secret.
Actually, it was 2 years ago. It was 2 years ago.
Because I was 3 months pregnant. People didn't really know. And then I was like, by the way, I'm pregnant. And you were like, I think I've got a great video of you reacting to that news, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
And now your baby is here in the world.
Yeah, he's out and about. He's somewhere.
He's gone for pizza.
He's gone for pizza in Stratford with my brother. I don't know where he is,
He's 18
actually.
now.
What are we doing here? Honestly, that's so funny.
But yeah, I feel like we've crossed paths numerous ways. And you wear our pants.
Do you know what? And I will say this, I genuinely, and I've always talk about it on my TikTok, Nixi Body is my favourite brand. And I'm not just saying that because I'm with you. Oh. There's some of them that just make me feel hot.
Yeah.
Make me feel a bit.
You are incredibly hot anyway, let's face it. But our knickers will make you look even hotter.
But some that make me feel like, I just feel like they feel like very overstimulating to wear.
Yeah.
They are just so light wear, thin, they dry really well, which I love. So when I go on holiday, pack them all. Also to pack in a case.
Yeah.
They're fabulous. They're not thick.
Yeah, and you don't need that. Yeah, you don't need thick gussets and thick pants. We just don't want a reminder that you're wearing pants that aren't normal pants. We just wanted them to make the feel like they're normal.
Yeah,
they kind of average underwear kind of. So yeah,
and like we said, like that elasticated seam in the middle that makes your bum. It's there for a purpose, isn't it? It kind of keeps the knickers in place, but it makes your bum look really.
I know.
peachy.
I mean, we've got some pictures. Yeah, you sent us some UGC, girl, and your bum looks great.
People need to stop sending us pictures of them in their knickers. It's too much.
No, please don't.
I was on the balcony on holiday, literally posing and I my bum had I don't know.
It looked good.
I was trying. I was really trying, and I was like, my ex at the time. I was like, get the angles.
No,
Poor guy.
it was great.
You got the angles.
Right. So let's start at the beginning. You both founded Nixi Body. How did you meet? How did that begin? Why did you start a period pant brand? Because it's not an easy or simple brand to start.
Yeah, you can say that again.
How did this all come?
So
it all starts with Kel.
It starts with my. All right, Coni. Let's go back further than that. So I started my periods when I was about 14, and from the very start had really heavy, long, painful periods, but just thought that was normal. We didn't talk about periods in my house. I'm the oldest of 3 girls, and I just went through life just thinking this horrendous pain, all through my legs, through my pelvis, everywhere was just normal. And it wasn't until I was 39 I was diagnosed with endometriosis. So I had a couple of laparoscopies and ended up having a hysterectomy when I was 42. And then I started early menopause. I mean, I'm just like, that's what we're doing. I'm minimising it all really, but it was it was a pretty horrendous time for me. And then my first physical symptom of the menopause was bladder leaks. So I've always played sports, always moved my body, and this was happening to me. I couldn't wear pads because they really irritated me and caused infections. So I ended up buying some really disgusting leak-proof knickers. This was about 9 years ago from Amazon, and they were just disgusting. They were gross. I felt like I was wearing a nappy. They rustled like a crisp packet when I moved. Couldn't sneak up on anybody. Like they were just disgusting. So I thought there's got to be a better way to do this. I need something that's really discreet. I kind of lived in my gym leggings. So I designed our first pair of Nixis. So I kind of had the prototype, and then I realised I had to set up a website and I had to start doing social media. And my husband put me on this free NatWest social media course, which was absolutely terrible. No diss. I'm not dissing NatWest, but it wasn't great. And there was this girl at the back who kept shouting out all the answers.
A gobby girl.
And this really gobby girl at the back.
Was
and
her
I'm
name
like,
Coni?
I need to know who's this girl. And I remember turning around and going, who keeps answering the questions? And she was like, me. I went, I need to talk to you afterwards. So we kind of connected, didn't we?
Yeah.
And then I said to her, do you want to come for a coffee? And then Coni can finish the rest because she likes to tell this bit.
Well, yeah, so I was, I don't even know, to be honest, I don't know why I was at that NatWest thing.
I don't know why you were there. So
I don't know why. Because yeah, like it was I was freelancing. I was about to go freelance. So maybe I was trying to pick up some clients. I mean, it worked. I got more than a bargain for. I got a business partner.
And a best friend.
Yeah, exactly. But so we met and I was freelancing, and all of my clients, and it just was kind of quite random, had ended up being in the women's health space, or the first couple, and then it kind of snowballed because I was just, I was interested in this stuff. And then when I started working it and talking about fertility and talking about periods and all this sort of stuff, I just was fascinated, and it really opened my eyes to stuff that I just hadn't thought about in terms of my own body, about what was going on. So that was sort of going on the sidelines, and then I went to this thing and met Kel, and it just was quite, it was fate, I guess, because I was like, oh, well, not only am I good at marketing stuff, that's what I do. I was like, but all my clients are in women's health. So I was like, I can help you massively. So we went for a coffee. Cal showed me her knickers in a cafe in Soho.
Classy. Of course, it was Soho.
Yeah, exactly. And just like got that. And I loved the product and loved Cal. And I was like, actually, I feel like there's more here. Can I come on as a co-founder, basically? Because you would sort of pre-launch at that point.
I had no idea what I was doing, basically. Honestly, I just thought, it was like Kevin Costner, I will build it and people will come. Yeah. They will come and buy the knickers. Obviously, it doesn't work like that in business. So I was so lucky to meet Coni really early on. And yeah, like together, we've just built this amazing brand.
And I think that's the thing, is like the knickers are the same. I mean, we've extended the range, we've done new styles, but
You've got period thongs.
We've got the thongs.
Can you
now.
believe?
Exactly.
I know. So weird.
But the original style, we still sell that style. Like nothing has dramatically changed about the product. What Kel designed, like at her kitchen table all those years ago, is still what makes them such a great pair of knickers. But what has changed over the years is the brand that we've built and the community that we've built. And I think we've really focused on exercise and sport, which was, again, the original idea, but we sort of didn't really talk about it that much. And then now we've realised actually these knickers were built to keep women moving through menstruation, motherhood, menopause, all the different life stages.
And it's not even about just like going to play sport or exercise. It's about anybody who moves their body.
Just
so it might be
active.
if you're getting up and going for a walk, or you're taking your dog for a walk, or you're just walking your kids to school, to nursery, that's an active woman. And we're so passionate about keeping women and girls of all ages like moving and really, from day one, like you say, that was our goal. I designed them because of my love of sport, and I've played my first sport I ever played, I was 9 years old, back in 1980, playing football, and I've played a sport every single year since then and absolutely loved it. And Coni, obviously, she loves moving her body.
Oh, and I think like you said, is we, yes, we deal with elite athletes, and that's really, really cool. But actually, I think it's so important for women, whether you're quote unquote good at a sport or not, like it doesn't matter, like just go and do something for fun, like go and move your body. And I think at those different life stages that we talked about, like whether it's you've got your period and you've got PMS and you need to look after your mental health, or you've just had a baby and you need to reconnect with yourself, or you're going through menopause, like whatever those different life stages, moving your body can help massively. And I think if you're worried about leaks, be they period or bladder leaks, that's just another thing to worry about, or another barrier stopping you to go and do those things, like go to that dance class or go to that yoga class. So if we can just remove that barrier from with our knickers, that's great. But then I think the work that we do in terms of as a brand and conversations like this, it's also trying to remove stigma and embarrassment and allow women just to have those conversations about what's going on in their body. So I think over the last 6 years that we've been together, like that's what's been so great. It's like the knickers have sort of stayed the same in many ways, or we've sort of evolved them slightly, but the conversation has evolved, the community has evolved.
It's really helped me as well, because I'd had all of these issues with my periods and actually all of these women's health issues over the years. And Coni's made me realise, because I always thought like it was my fault that I didn't know what was wrong with me. But actually, so what Coni says to me, it's the system. The system let me down.
Yes. I can't believe you say 39, was it?
Yeah, but no, I'm going to be really frank here. But honestly, the only reason I went to the doctors about my heavy, long, painful periods was because sex had become really painful.
Wow.
And actually that started to cause it started to have an impact on my marriage.
Because it started affecting someone else.
Exactly.
You went and did something about.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I know,
but that's so ingrained in us to just keep going, and it's normal.
Yeah.
You just have to just keep going on with it.
I don't think people know. I think, when we talk to people, be they teenagers or, for example, England Netball's one of our partners, and we went in and I went and did this talk for them, and I thought, okay, these are grown women. They're athletes at the top of their game, like they've got nutritionists, they've got coaches. I kind of naively assumed they'd be pretty clued in about what was going on. So I sort of went to do this talk and I thought, they're going to be like, this is a bit simple for us. We know that. The amount of women on that team who had no idea that the periods they were experiencing were an indication of something that was wrong in their body. No, they were like, oh, I don't know if I'll be able to wear the pants because, I'm changing a pad every hour, or that kind of thing.
Oh,
and
my mum has really heavy
periods.
periods.
So normalised.
And that was the thing. It was when you said,
so scary.
They said, I said, no, it's fine, it's normal. My mum's the same, and my auntie, and you're like, yeah, you've probably all got a hereditary condition that's like making your periods.
But also
really
because
heavy.
Your grandma put up with it and your mum put up with it,
they doesn't mean you need
they
to.
pass and tend to sometimes pass on this mentality of like,
100%.
well, I dealt with it, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
And you just keep going.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think, we see that all the time, like you said, that normalization. And Cal's like a real example of that. And I think that's what we're really passionate about, especially when we talk to young girls. Like we really want to drum into them. Like, if this is something that is holding you back, for example, if you've got a period so bad that you have to miss school every month, or you have to pull out of PE every month, that's probably a sign that something's not right. Like pain is always a sign from your body, and you shouldn't ignore those signs. No. But I think as women, when it comes to our periods or anything to do with our periods, same with PMS and all that kind of stuff, we just normalize it.
And I think what we're trying to do, and what we've been doing going into schools, is it's almost letting them know that basic information, but saying to them, it is really difficult. You do need to advocate for yourself.
And this education is what helps them advocate.
Education is key. Education is so key. And I'm 54 now. I think I've learned more in the past few years from Coni and from doing this than I did in all of the previous years. It's just, and it's not just about my periods. Menopause. I've been on a real learning curve with my periods as well, and with the menopause as well. It's just, I've learned so much since being in this role, founding our business.
Yeah, and this community that we hang out with.
That's why it's just so important to sit down and talk.
Yeah.
Because if we're not talking to each other, we don't know what is normal. And we don't know what, because we just keep it in and we normalise it and we struggle in silence.
And I think people like us who, we work in this space in different ways, but, we're sort of every single day, I'm talking about a period to someone, whether they like it or not.
Love.
But it's just my life. Like, that's what I do. But I think sometimes it makes me assume that everything's moved on so far.
You get this bubble.
That every woman on the street is talking about this stuff. And don't get me wrong, I think it is certainly better than when you were at school and probably when we were at school and stuff. Yeah. Things are moving in the right direction, but there is still so much stigma and so much embarrassment between women talking about this stuff. And I think I forget.
What would you actually say? No, I so agree. And I think you do when you're in these really positive spaces, and I go to Evelyn for the day and work with them. I'm like, everyone, I meet Jared who knows everything about periods. No, that's really not the norm. What would you say is one of the biggest menstrual taboos that still exists today?
I think that people still just feel like periods are gross.
Yeah, definitely.
I think people that think they're unhygienic and feel grossed out by people feel period. Let's talk about it in terms of Nixi. It's a really tangible thing. People sometimes get a bit grossed out at the idea of period underwear, and when you start to break that down, you're like, okay, why are you grossed out? And I think it's because people are used to dealing with their period with disposables or tampons where you don't even have to look at it. You just sort of whip something
Do you know
out
what?
and
This
put
is
it in
really
the
funny
bin.
because I was recently seeing someone new and I was explaining to him like that I just use period underwear, and like he didn't care. He was really like, oh cool, nice, how does that work? Really like just intrigued, and it was lovely. But I could feel myself being like
a bit embarrassed.
And then I wash them and I hang them over the rail in the bathroom. That's me. And I'm like, I talk about women's health all the time. Like I'm like, God, no one should care. But even I could feel myself when I was explaining it.
Yeah.
I think periods have always been kind of shrouded in shame, haven't they? And we've been brought up not to use the correct terminology for things as well, which I didn't used to think was important. And I used to say to Coni, why can't I call it my fanny? It's just my fanny. She's like, no, you need to call it by its name. And I used to think, why? And then I got it. It clicked one day. And I'm always saying, I'm a big advocate now for like calling it by its name and using the correct terminology, because I think that why can't we use that? If we take away that, when we're not hiding things, it's not in secret and it's out there, and it's like you say, it's everyone. It's such a taboo all of the time.
And if we talk in like euphemisms or little words or whatever, like it's like saying you're not allowed to say the right thing. You're not allowed to say the stuff, and that is the kind of thing that is stopping girls and women going to the doctor and talking about stuff. Like when we're at school, in schools, I say, look, your menstrual health is just your overall health. Like it's just, I was like, you wouldn't be embarrassed to go to your parent or go to a doctor, and this teens or grown-ups or adult. Sorry, I've been in a school a week, you can tell because I keep saying grown-ups.
Grown-ups, big kids.
Talk to a grown-up, no, adults. Is, when it comes to our health, like we don't feel a lot of embarrassment about other elements of our health. Like, I think there's some that we do and there's some that we don't. And I think if we can move periods and menstrual health into the same arena of like, you would go and say, I've got a sore throat, I've got a headache, I've got this, like you wouldn't really think twice about those stuff. You'd be like, I've got some symptoms and I need to get help. Whereas when it comes to our periods and our menstrual health, everything feels like taboo. And everything feels embarrassing. And it's, it's not great from a cultural perspective, but it's really not great from a health perspective.
No.
It's like if you can't go to a doctor and be like, like I'm clotting or I'm this or I'm that, without feeling like so embarrassed to talk about those things.
I would never ever have gone to the doctors about my periods ever.
Exactly.
I was so embarrassed because my mum's lovely, my mum's lovely, but we just didn't talk about those things. So I never had the tools to be able to articulate what was going on with my body to my mum, let alone go to see a doctor to explain what was happening. So
because if your mum's never spoken about it to you,
my mum's hilarious. She has always been that person. Go in, get what you want. Like she's always really pushed me to advocate, and she's really had to push. She says sometimes like, I don't want the cheap one. I want the expensive one, the prescription. She's like, that's what you give, and that's bad for my liver, so I don't want that. I want this. I'm like, she knows. She does the research before she goes in.
Good.
But it's true. If you haven't had that sort of like push or understanding, it's really hard to know how to navigate it. Now you're sort of not out the other side, but you've been through this journey of having to now advocate for yourself. What advice would you give to someone that is where you were and has spent a life of feeling ashamed of talking about?
I've got 2 sons, but I fostered for many years, and our last placement was 4 girls who obviously all came from very young up through teenage years. But we were very, very open about it. There was no way that they were going to be brought up to be embarrassed about any of that stuff. And one of my girls, she started her period at 9 and I wasn't around, but she had absolutely no qualms in speaking to my husband to say, I've started my period, and my husband sorted her out, and there was no judgment. My boys were fine. They're educated young lads. They know that they need to support the women in their life. So I would say from a really early age, you've got to start talking to these girls about what's going to happen, these changes that are going to happen to their bodies. And again, that was really evident at the school that we went to. You could see some of the girls were sat around on the side, and then you started, and they didn't look interested. And as soon as you started talking, I see one of them, her ears pricked up, and she moved herself off the sofa and sat at the front. She was really listening, and she was so engaged, and so many questions at the end. But again, a couple of them were like, my mum won't talk about things like this. I think it's such a shame. You've got such an opportunity to kind of move on this generation of not, of dispelling all of this shame and embarrassment and bringing forward
What would you say to, say say someone is now, they've turned 18, they have to go to the doctor for the first time on their own. Mum hasn't been the biggest support in terms of being able to teach her how to advocate. What advice would you give?
We talk a lot about keeping a diary, don't we?
Symptoms diary.
Doctors
always want that. I think it's really hard even like me, who's someone who's like very confident speaking about this stuff, like when I went through like having my baby and all this sort of stuff, you read, and I had to interact with doctors a lot, and you know, you kind of do start to realize that what's it called, is it white coat syndrome, where like you get quite, even the most confident person can get a little bit like, a doctor's telling me no, that's normal, or no, you know, or whatever that is. And obviously there are some incredible doctors out there, but I think that it is when we are going to our sort of those initial GP I was about to say interviews, what are they called?
Appointments.
GP appointments. Consultations. God, I'm getting your brain fog. I think that it's a bit of luck of the draw, right? Like you can walk into that room and that can be someone who has seen this before, you know, if it's say endometriosis as an example, or I know people that are like, the only reason I got diagnosed is because my GP's like cousin had it or something, and they've seen it before.
They were in the know.
Totally. Or you might walk in and someone's not so clued up on those stuff, and it's a little bit luck of the draw of whether you get that referral right to the right person and you get to see a specialist. So I think, like you said, symptoms diary is really important.
I think you need to be audacious as well.
Yeah.
I mean,
and do your research. I think feel really empowered.
Yeah. I mean, with like going back to the menopause, I knew that I was going through menopause. I knew it was, and I'd taken a whole list of symptoms. I'd written them all down on a piece of paper, and I was still poo-pooed by my doctor. But because I was in the menopause, I was in the worst place ever. I was like, wanted to kill everyone in my family. I was having panic attacks. I was depressed. I was told I had to go for blood tests, and I just thought, I know that blood tests aren't going to help me, but he's the doctor, he knows what he's talking about. But now, and actually the only reason he gave me HRT 18 months later was because I literally broke down in tears. So if you don't give it to me, like, something terrible is going to happen here. So I had to be emotional, hysterical, basically. But I feel like we need to be slightly audacious now. Go in with a friend. If you feel more confident,
always say, bring someone to advocate for you.
100%.
So keep your diary, go in with your list of symptoms, take somebody with you and be audacious. I would always say that.
I think we will try and be polite, don't we? And we don't want to put anyone out. And it's like, actually, you know yourself best. But I love that you said about taking someone with you, because I think, again, we sort of think, well, I'm an adult, I shouldn't have to take someone with me to the doctor. But actually, having someone in that room, especially someone who knows you, you know, if it's your partner, for example, and being like, I'm witnessing how they are, like I'm witnessing, and just someone to kind of, like bear witness to what you're saying. It's like, this isn't in my head. And to also witness how the doctor is reacting to you. Because I think, again, I certainly can go into a room, have an interaction, and sometimes come out being like, am I being ridiculous? Like, maybe they were listening to me, or maybe they didn't really say that.
And when you're in that place.
And it's stressful. So I think having a neutral person who can go there and like help advocate for you, but can also say, no, they were being a bit dismissive of you, or no, they were, you know, it's like, it just means that you don't feel like you're going crazy, which I think as women, we tend to like really overanalyze how we behave in situations. And then I've left
so many doctors like appointments like, oh, you know, it's fine, and walking away and then getting in the car crying, thinking it's not fine. Why did I've just been like, my pain has been minimized yet again. Nobody's listening to me. It's it's quite heartbreaking, isn't it? But then you do get, I've got some amazing doctors.
Oh yeah, I've had a really amazing GP in the past too. I think you just get lucky. And I always say, if you obviously, I say it's like dating in a way. The first time you go in, if it's not a match, you can go back to a different GP in the practice.
Really good advice.
There will be someone in the GP who will listen.
But again, that takes confidence to say, actually, no, I'm not happy with that GP. I'd like a second opinion.
And
it
also
takes a lot of confidence to do that.
I think that's the other thing. And I think when we're talking about the stuff that we're talking about, so whether it's menopause, PMDD, postpartum depression, heavy painful periods, those things like drag you down. So then to be like, right, so also on my list of things to do today is go back to the doctor, try and get another appointment, follow up on that. It's like when you're struggling with your health, the added admin, that is really hard. And that shouldn't be underestimated.
And you feel so isolated. I remember when I was being diagnosed with PMDD, it was the most isolating thing. And I actually had a great support network at the time, but I said to everyone around me, guys, like, I need your help here. Like, no one quite understood how you feel. You just feel so isolated. Talking of postpartum, how have you been since you've had a baby?
Oh God.
How old's Ted now?
Ted is nearly 18 months and he's a dream.
Gorgeous.
He is so fun. He's so funny, isn't he? So no, motherhood in terms of, I think, me and my baby is incredible. I think motherhood and the juggle of business and motherhood is really, really tough. And then I think maternal mental health is massively under, like, I think people think you either have postpartum depression or you're fine. And it's like, I think there can be somewhere in between, you know. I think it is, I think I underestimated that 18 months I would still be feeling the sort of ripple effect of how it...
The wrath.
Yeah, totally. And I think people think postpartum's at like 3 months and it's like, right, go and get your checkup and get back to exercise and get back having sex and get back to it. And you're like...
You said something to me recently where you said people you're in this bubble for the first 3 months and everyone's, so lovely and you're doing so well. And then it's almost like grief, isn't it? When you go through grief, everyone's there in the beginning, but you actually really need them 6 months down the line. That's when you need the support.
Totally. And you need to still be kind to yourself. So I think you should be fine now, you know. You should just be taking it all in your stride and like, you know, because again, like you said, those first 3 months, like everyone expects you to be like, what is going on? So you're sort of given like a free pass almost. But then I think as kind of like life ramps up again, and obviously you do have to get back to sort of quote unquote normal life, but your life will never be the same again.
I think that, with you especially, you're so strong. You're such a strong character and you're such a strong person. I think that everyone just expects you just to bounce back. It's I'm so conscious all the time, like, are you okay? How you feeling? Take some time out, which is difficult. We know is so difficult because the business is so
but
busy.
I'm lucky that I have like the people around me in terms of the team. Like everyone is so supportive. But you're so right, and I think also if you are a strong person, you're sort of navigating motherhood in a way where you don't really. I don't know, like I think in your head you would think a mum that is quote unquote struggling is, you know, sat there on the floor in her pajamas at 2 p.m, like
not getting
crying,
her life together.
Is like crying, is like can't do anything. Whereas like if you were looking at me,
you're
like,
functioning
I'm
fully.
functioning, I'm like, I'm this, I'm at the baby classes, I'm being sociable, I'm covered. Yeah, exactly.
On the Sunday.
Totally, you know. And I think that's when things can slip through the cracks a little bit. And even with my own mum, like I think me and my mum have gone on a really interesting journey as I've become a mum and she's become a grandmother, or nonny as we call her. Is, you know, she's had to learn that like I'm really vulnerable. Vulnerable is the word that I say time and time again since I became pregnant. Really, I was like, you just feel really vulnerable as a new mom. You're like, I actually need quite a lot of help. And I think if you're a strong person who's used to being really independent, it's like quite hard to ask for that help sometimes.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think that can really impact your mental health because you are trying to be strong and you are trying to be like, I'm fine. Like, I've got a baby but I'm still doing this, that and the other. And it's really difficult.
I think we're so similar in everything that we do.
We just crack on, don't we?
We do just with everything. I've just always cracked on. Like our emotions, our feelings come behind everybody else's emotions and feelings, which is why I feel like I'm hopefully quite supportive of Coni.
You both get it.
We do both get it. Yeah, I look at her and I think this was me like 25 years ago. Wow. I was doing this and just cracking on with it.
Because especially in that first year, and especially if you're still breastfeeding and your hormones are all over the place. But I was like, but I also just think that there's an element of like the self-care that you do if you want to holistically look after your hormones and you know, kind of manage PMS and stuff like that, just goes by the wayside. Because and I remember talking to my husband about this like a few months ago. I'd had a really, really bad episode of PMS, and I was saying to him, I was like, the frustrating thing is, I was like, I've worked in this area for years. I was like, I know everything I should be doing to make this better, and I was like, I'm not doing any of it. I was like, but before I had Ted, if I knew that I was struggling with PMS,
you'd be able to put in preventative action.
Totally. I could be like, do you know what? I'm going to cancel that like big night out with my friends, and I'm going to go and have a sauna, and I'm going to go for a walk.
Take it easy.
Every morning, I'm just going to get up and, you know, I'm going to get out and, you know, hot girl walks in the morning. It's like, guess what? A hot girl walk, when you've got a baby, then we've got to get into a pram.
It takes you 2 hours to get out of the house.
Exactly. Like all of that stuff that is possible. I'm not saying it's not possible with kids, but it is genuinely harder. And I think that when it comes to, I mean, I'm talking about PMS, but anything to do with our mental health, all of those holistic practices are 10 times harder when you've got a baby in tow.
Absolutely.
And I think I didn't appreciate
You're constantly dysregulated as well,
because you're overstimulated.
This is the thing I'm like, when I think about being a mother, like sounds and noises, waking up
and
like
I don't
5 times a night.
And but it's so full of joy as well.
Yeah.
Like, and I feel like I've got to,
should we talk about that?
Let the record show.
Ted,
I love my baby.
If you're listening, Ted,
you're amazing. But then it is, the highs are really high and the lows are really low, and the stimulation is constant. So it is from your nervous system quite a lot. Like it is loads.
And what do you do now when you are having like a bad PMS/PMDD month?
She hasn't got time to think about it, to be
but
honest.
Exhibit A is I'm due on next week, and here I am like, guess I'll come to London and do a podcast. But this is actually dreamy. Yeah. But I guess I try to take out what I can around those times. It's really hard because I love working, but I'll just try and I limit alcohol. That's a big one. Yeah. I don't drink I don't drink that much anyway, but I don't drink like in my luteal phase. Basically, I will avoid alcohol at all costs, because that's just, that's the easiest thing for me to do, because I have no social life as a new mom anyway, so I might as well just make it a health choice.
Healthy queen.
But I think I honestly, do you know what? I answered on a postcard because I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm still trying to figure it out. One of the big things I would say is, and again, it comes back to that communication, is I have really open lines of communication with Kel. I have really open lines of communication with my husband. So I don't, even though I do try and crack on, I also can literally be like, I'm due on next week, so I'm just not functioning. I can just say that. Yeah. And just being able to say that, I think, is great.
Well, Coni knows I can't function most weeks anyway because of the menopause. So
we're right there.
Yeah,
we're all in business together. It's actually hilarious because we're both just falling apart.
I'm also due on as well, so it's all going on. We're in we've really got it going on today, guys.
There's a lot of hormones flying around today.
You guys leave and I'll just do the rest of the podcast.
Oh my god, great. But I think just being honest with the people that are around you,
communication,
totally, like your partner, your business partner, like whoever you work with. And again, it's such a privilege, right? Because I can say that to not just Kel, but anyone on our team, or you.
She'll just put it in the WhatsApp group.
Yeah, exactly. I'll just be like, oh guys, sorry, like my period's just arrived, so I'm useless. Fine. But I'm not in a corporate environment where you are constantly worried about potentially, your misogynistic boss not giving you a promotion because you're a woman or whatever, and that idea of like, well, women are too hormonal. So then you don't. I imagine if you're in a different environment to what we are, then that line of communication in a professional setting, so tough.
I do think it is. I've heard from some of my corporate girlies, things are getting a little bit better. I'd actually love to have a proper conversation with someone in the corporate space.
Because they say that their policies are in place, but does that make you comfortable enough to say to your boss, if your boss doesn't seem encouraging, to say, oh yeah, actually this is a period health thing?
In fact, if you are a corporate girly or anyone that works in the corporate world, can you write in and tell us about that experience? Because we'd love to know.
Us self-employed girls are like, we don't know what's going on out there.
we're space cadets. Right. This podcast literally wouldn't be possible without Evelyn. Beyond producing it, they have personally helped me on my PMDD journey. I am literally in my luteal phase right now, and I'm telling you, it makes me emotional. 3 years ago, there's no way I could have even sat in this chair, done this podcast, or done anything in my luteal phase. I used to feel like I didn't want to be here before my period, like there was a big cloud looming over me, and life just felt so heavy in the 2 weeks before my period. But since I've started Evelyn's supplement routine over a year ago, genuinely my whole life has changed. I feel like I can live again before my period, turn up and do things like this, socialise. Everything around me has improved, and I feel like I can really be myself again in my luteal phase. Evelyn makes science-backed, hormone-free supplements designed by experts for people like me. If you're struggling with your period, I honestly would urge you to give them a try. If you'd like to try them today, go to evelynhealth.com or use the link in our show notes, and you can use Hotline 20 for 20% off your first order. Moving on, I just want to touch back on Nixi and how it is a sustainable brand, and why have you got a sustainable brand? Why is it important for us and what we put down here when we're on our periods? I never thought about what I put down there until about 2 years ago. There's been a lot on social media in the last year or so. I'm very interested.
Yeah, I don't think it even really started with sustainability in mind. It was just the fact that I needed something for bladder leaks more than anything. Obviously, you can't wear a tampon for bladder leaks, but I couldn't wear pads. So it was more a case of I can't wear pads.
Like it was your health,
so
wasn't
because
it?
of my health, I would always get BV, I would, thrush, cystitis, things like that. And it was very uncomfortable playing sports with a pad moving about as well. But it became apparent to me, having 4 teenage girls in the house, that I was throwing away a bag of used sanitary pads and sanitary towels every single week. So I thought, wow, this is just our house. So
and they're expensive.
They're expensive as well for 4 girls. They're expensive. And then started to look into the stats of that and realising I think 200,000 tonnes of waste each year is produced just in the UK from period products alone. So that started to become a bit of a factor, I suppose, then. So it didn't start for me as a sustainability brand, sustainable brand.
Eco warrior.
Yeah, I wasn't, but I am now. So I think, is it 180? Our knickers replace 180 to 200 pads?
Yeah, it depends like what your...
The stats that you're looking at.
Like how you're using them. Like obviously if it's for a bladder leak, then the people... Because some people are wearing pads every day, right? Or liners or something. So it's like...
Even my granddad used to wear pads.
Yeah.
Oh
wow.
Oh, well, we've got something else for that.
Yeah.
We won't talk about that now. But but I mean, I think it's every person will use about 11,000 disposable pads or tampons in their lifetime.
Wow.
And
so if you have a period or bladder leak, so like as women, like if we want to try and look at the impact that we're having on the planet, then actually our period care is a massive, can be a massive one to look at. But I think when we talk about sustainability, and again I think like we really care about sustainability, but also we don't talk about it that much as a brand in a weird way, because also like it just, I don't know, like I think everyone should just be doing it. Like it should be like, aren't we amazing, like we're doing this. It's like, like let's all move on and stop using disposable products in all areas of our life, right? There's all these reusable options now. But I think the more and more we talk about this stuff from a health perspective as well, like I think that's massive. And like you just said, you had you had vaginal dryness and BV and stuff that was all connected.
I used to get thrush after every period.
And loads of people do. And we all just go like, oh yeah, like I'm on a period.
I'd get the caniston
and you're
out.
just like, oh, that's fine. No one stops to think, like could it be the products that I'm using around my period that are
and actually
impacting
when I was using organic tampons and stuff like that, that did make a massive difference.
Yeah,
but it took me years to figure that out. And guess what? I don't think maybe in the bigger stores, but like they don't really do the organic ones unless you go to like Holland and Barrett, but they don't do them in like Tesco.
No. If you were like caught short and you were just kind of like, I'm just in a shop and I just need to grab something here, it's really hard to get hold of them. We work with brands like Grace and Green, or like they're the
even when we're championing Grace and Green, people are like, they're so expensive, but it's like, well, hang on a sec, you need to weigh up your health.
Well, I was spending £10 a month on Caniston,
right?
Oh my God,
exactly.
So I'd rather use better products.
And again,
it's that mindset shift, isn't it?
It's about being conscious, right? Like this is what it is all about. Like if you care about what is going on in your body, right, you might start to be a bit more conscious about what you're eating. So you might look at like, actually, like, and again, there's nothing wrong with having the odd ultra processed this, that, and here and there. Of course not. Exactly, right?
I love a McDonald's.
Exactly. But if you're kind of like, okay, let me just start to think about what's going on in my body. You think about what's going on in your food, and you might start to look at these ultra processed foods and what are all these ingredients? I didn't know that.
There's so much sugar in that.
There's so much this, or there's so much like additives and just chemicals, basically. But people think about what's going on in their mouths, but they don't always think about what's going on in their vagina. Like they're just like,
and it is an organ.
It's an organ. It's like one of the most absorbent organs in the body.
Yeah.
Right. And if you are putting pads or tampons inside you,
bleach, cotton
every month for say like a week a month for like 4 decades. It's like that's a lot of exposure to these things, and like
especially if they don't have the right chemicals in, which some brands obviously do. But there are some brands out there that don't.
And also, I will say as well, like there are some studies coming out that like there's arsenic and there's lead and there's these things, and obviously it's fascinating and it's a bit scary. But I always say to people, I was like, look, like we need to look at this in sort of like, no one's going to use a tampon and get lead poisoning. No. I don't think. Don't quote me on that. But that isn't what we're saying here. But I think it's about sustained exposure to these
awareness
things, and how can we limit the toxins. And actually, if there is a simple swap, and we always say like swap into period underwear, great, like amazing. But also if you do want to use tampons and pads, that's fine, and just maybe spend an extra few quid on some organic
when you can.
I think it's so true.
I think it's just making the small changes, isn't it? Like sometimes I go back to using maybe like ones that aren't natural. If I'm in a petrol station and I'm not going to die, I'm going to be fine.
Exactly.
But it's true what you said though. So many women now are turning around saying that they've changed from disposables to reusables and are finding that their periods aren't as heavy, they're not as painful, they're not as long. I don't know if there's
Well,
there's any test or anything.
I mean, we need more research into stuff like women's health brackets general, but like anecdotally, I mean, we do a lot of work with the endometriosis community, and you'll have these chats with people, and they're like saying what you just said, like God, yeah, I swapped to sustainable or I swapped to reusables, and I noticed a massive difference in just how my period was.
I mean, the fact when you were designing, who designed the endo pants that you guys have?
Oh,
they have like ones without a waistband, aren't they?
I mean,
they're
we designed them with the Endometriosis Foundation with Carla Cressy. So so they're called. All of our knickers are named after women in our lives. We haven't got Ellisha yet. Maybe we could at some point.
We'll have to
play your cards right.
Dreams do come true. Manifest for me, please.
But Carla Cressy, we called the Carla knicker after Carla, and we made it with the Endometriosis Foundation. So it's for heavier periods, but we did change some of the designs because a lot of these women have
the waistband, wasn't it? With endo
scars.
And I don't have endo, but when I've had a bloated month, I love my Carlas.
Yeah, exactly.
I love my Carlas.
And that's the thing. Like we it's all about giving women more choice. I think it's about giving more choice and giving them more information.
Have you got any knickers with you?
Got loads of knickers.
Have you actually?
All clean ones.
Oh my God, they're down there.
On the
Show
floor.
them to that camera over there.
Here's some.
Are they in?
Are they the Carla? They're the Carla.
But look at them at the back.
That is the Carla.
This is the Carla. This is
what
the
you were
as
talking
if
about.
I didn't know.
Yeah, so they have got. Well, Cal, you talk about. You're much better.
I can't move because of the mic. I'll get in trouble.
Oh no, some people will be listening without video. So
will they? Okay,
we'll do it. There's some really lovely knickers that we're showing the camera.
So ours have a discreetly designed gusset at the bottom there. So other period knickers go across all the way up to the top, which makes them quite bulky, but ours sit underneath the crack of the bum, so they can't be seen underneath tight gym leggings. And we've got that seamless scalloped edging, which makes them completely invisible. But there's an elasticated seam in the middle that holds the knickers in place, so they don't move when you're moving. No, very good for sport and exercise.
Really good for sport and exercise.
Yeah, which means that this doesn't rub or chafe.
And super comfy. They're comfy. That's the thing, you just want to forget that you're on your period when you're on your period, ultimately. You just want to put them on.
You talk to me about periods all the time. I don't remember periods anymore.
Well, okay, but even with bladder leaks, right, you just want to be able, like, if you've got bladder leaks, you don't want to be thinking, oh God, I've got to pack my pad, I've got to change my pad.
I literally have to wear these every single day. I have to wear an absorbent gusset every single day because I've got like stress and urge incontinence. I've also got an overactive bladder, and I'm training for the London Marathon, so like I'm putting a lot of pressure on my pelvic floor. I wore a pair of knickers the other day without an absorbent gusset and literally pissed through my trousers.
Oh no!
So I
That's
cannot.
What you get, Tracer.
That'll learn me.
That's what you get for not wearing your own brand.
So I mean, we've got so many women that come back and buy it again and again who have changed their whole knicker drawer to these because
you never know.
I never know.
What? The only time in the last, say, 5 years I've worn non-Nixi knickers was on my wedding day. Because I thought, you know what? I'm getting married. Let's try and be a little bit not in my period underwear. And I wet myself on the dance floor. No. So
she'd had a lot to drink.
I'd had a lot to drink, and I was dancing. And I was very excited, and I pissed myself. And I was like, right, again, that's what that'll learn me.
That'll learn you.
That's stunning. God, wow, you were on the biggest day of your life. You should have worn the Nixies. Why would you?
I know. Well, we hadn't got cream. Now we brought out cream.
She's not a very good advocate for the brand.
Do you know what? We have so many brides say they wore them for their weddings.
Yeah, we do.
We've got cream Carla. So if you're
imagine having to worry about leaking on your wedding day.
Well, you don't.
Yeah. No, you're right.
No. And actually, I've never leaked. Never, ever leaked. And I've worn these. I know, like, is it 3 tampons worth of blood?
Yeah. Well, it depends. Different ones, different things.
But I've worn them probably for far longer than I should have on one day. Still great.
TMI.
Still great.
And that's the thing. It's like your period shouldn't hold you back. Like
Never.
Ultimately, like, and again, like I think we've talked about this, ad nauseum today. But like, obviously, if it is holding you back, please go and see a doctor. Like, let that be the headline.
But or just talk to somebody.
Don't leave it till you're 39.
But generally speaking, we should be able to like go about our day and enjoy our life. Like, it shouldn't be that 1 week a month we're sort of bedridden and like stressed to go out. And
it's just not normal.
It's not. For those listening, our DMs are always open, aren't they?
Oh my God!
Like,
yes.
if you feel worried talking about to anyone in your like physical realm, we are here.
Do you know,
online big sisters.
Do you know what's lovely as well? When we do events, we go out and do like the running event and places like that, and you see women walking around and they spot us, and there's a crowd of women, and you can see them go round and round because they want to come and talk, but they just like feel embarrassed. And so many women have come up and we've had really candid conversations, and I felt really embarrassed talking about all the issues that I've had at the beginning. I very openly talk about everything now. Everyone knows everything about my body.
I pissed myself on my wedding day,
and I have a dry vagina. So Coni likes to say, but but just opening up and having those conversations makes other women feel less alone.
100%.
And that's what I love about us. Like, everyone knows that us as a brand, we are really authentic. We talk about these subjects not just because we think it's great for the business, because we're really passionate about it, and it's something that's happened to us and something that we're still going through, and it makes women feel less alone, doesn't it? And I'm really proud of the fact that we do that.
I can both see that you just don't want other people to go through what you have
gone
through, and that's kind of how I feel with like PMDD, and like I think we have had a conversation recently about like PMDD and stuff like that, and that's your why. You're like, I don't want anyone to
feel
be diagnosed
way.
with endo at 39 and have years of pain and heavy periods and think it's normal. Like that's not okay, and we don't want that. We want the next generation to grow up.
And I do think that, like, as women, we're the ones that can change this. Like, or it would be incredible.
One conversation can change everything.
Like, systemically, like, we need change. Like, we need better funding for women's health research. We need better research. We need better training. Like, of course, we need those things, but the conversations that just like your average women can change someone's
over
life.
Coffee.
Like, you can say one thing to one woman and that can change their whole trajectory of how they're approaching their health.
We're not experts, are we? But we've got lived experience of these issues, and I think women really appreciate that. So girls and women will come to us, and if we don't know the answer, we know where to signpost them, because we've been doing this for so long now. But I love when we get a message from someone, even if it's just asking advice or just telling us you've changed our life. And some of the reviews we get are really candid as well, aren't that candid? Honestly, I do cry. I mean, I'm a real crier.
Do cry quite a lot.
I cry so much when we get just the most beautiful emails, or we get the most beautiful conversations with women at events. It just makes me feel like this is what I was put here for. This is why I went through all of these issues. This is my why, our why.
Yeah.
This is like, it kind of makes everything worthwhile, because I know that we're making such a difference.
Definitely.
I love that. Oh God, love you girls. This really is a girls group chat. Are you ready to be agony aunts?
Oh my God. I think, one day I want to sell the business and just become a full-time agony aunt.
I just want to run a football club.
I just want to run a women's football club.
I'll be an agony aunt. I'd love it.
I love that. Right. So we have one here they're all anonymous, obviously. I have one here from a 15-year-old. Oh. Hey, I'm 15 and I'm honestly so excited to listen to this episode because school has taught me basically nothing useful about my periods. I play netball every week, and sometimes when I run and jump, I feel like I might leak or something is not quite right down there. I don't really know how to explain it properly, and it makes me feel really awkward. I don't really feel like I have anyone I can talk to about this. Is this normal? And how do you even look after your pelvic floor when you're young? Because no one has ever mentioned this to us, and I just feel super lost and confused.
This is the thing again, isn't it? So we talk about periods being taboo, but like
bladder leaks among teenagers.
I've never heard of that before.
Yeah, it's not as rare as you think it is,
especially if
with
she's
a high impact sport.
If you're like, I can't remember the stat off the top of my head, but elite athletes are much more likely.
63%.
Don't, because we can't link to it. I don't want to get in trouble. But they are more, and there's various studies like, with different sports, but basically people that do sport a lot are more likely to have pelvic floor dysfunction than someone that hasn't. And that's not necessarily because they've had a baby or they're older.
Do you know Baz Moffat?
Yeah,
I was with her earlier on in the week.
Cool.
Obviously, ex-Olympic rower.
Yeah.
She was like, my pelvic floor was absolutely effed, and she was like, I was an Olympian.
Exactly.
And I was like, what?
Oh my God! Every time I see Baz, I'm like, Baz, this is happening down there. Is that right?
Yeah. She's amazing. She was like,
so
pick
good.
up your back passage as if you're picking up a bean. And drop it.
A pea.
And I think, the Well, with Baz, so she runs the Well. I think they are an incredible resource for anything like this. And I think coming back to the dilemma, I think, okay, so let's answer a few questions here. Is it normal? Yes and no. I would say it's more common than you might realise, but that doesn't mean it's something that should be ignored. A bit like what you say with pain shouldn't be ignored in your period, wetting yourself shouldn't be ignored when you're wetting yourself, whether you've had a baby or whether you're a teenager. So I think definitely if you are leaking, you should try and seek some help.
Yeah.
So,
and when we say leaking, we're not talking like full on wee. Even a couple of drops, that's like leaking and wetting yourself basically, and that's not normal.
Exactly. So we work with an incredible women's health physio called Jenny, and we've got a few different though, but Jenny's seen your vagina. Jenny's your
she's not just
physio.
seen it.
I think if that is something that is accessible to somebody, I think going to see a women's health physio is amazing if that's something that people can do.
And what I didn't realise was that girls and boys should be doing their pelvic floor exercises from about 13 anyway.
I also, Baz taught me a fact this week that a lot of the men in the English rugby team have been wetting themselves in a rugby scrum and no one's been talking about it.
So I'm not surprised.
Pelvic floor is a problem for all.
Pelvic floor, a lot of the sports teams that we go into, we're often primarily brought in because the players are struggling with bladder leaks rather than periods. And then we end up talking about both. So with this young girl, I would say try not to be embarrassed, even though we get that it's a bit confusing.
Talk to somebody.
Try and talk to somebody. And I think Pilates is really helpful as well.
So do some YouTube if you don't
YouTube Pilates. So you can definitely, it's never too young to be doing your Kegels. But I think that sometimes
there's some. So I just saw Jenny last week, funnily enough, because like I said, I'm training for a marathon and I'm wetting myself every time I'm running. But she's taught me there's some really great like exercises. So I do my pelvic floor exercises standing up, because generally I used to do them laying down. I'll be in bed and I'll do them, but standing up, it's almost like that gravity thing. But she's given me some really good exercises, and I said to Jenny, I want to do a live with her for everyone, all the women that are running the London Marathon who are worried about that, so she can show us the exercises that she showed me that I've forgotten already how to do, so she can remind me how to do them, and we can help other women. So there are some really good exercises that you can do for high impact that can really help with your pelvic floor as well.
I think if you feel ashamed to talk to somebody maybe around you, I would recommend that you do, but I would also say the best thing she could possibly start with, it's like a YouTube
absolutely
pelvic floor workout that she could just try for the next few months or something. We're not experts, but that could be quite a good
and then also I think as she gets older, and especially she plays netball, so like if she wants to play at a higher level, like just remember that like that core workout, like it can just be like, oh, I'm going to netball and then I'm coming home and I'm not doing sport for the rest of the week, but actually what can you do in between to support your core? So I think looking at some Kegel exercises on YouTube, but also just looking at some core exercises. I think because I think when I've spoken to Jenny, it's like, yes, do your Kegels, but what's going on with your glutes, what's going on with this, like everything, it's all connected.
Oh my god, like strengthen your glutes, definitely. That really helps. And sadly you'll have to wear our knickers.
Not sadly,
but if you can get some Nixi,
tell her to drop us a message and
drop them a DM.
We'll help
they'll
her.
sort you out. Oh well, we all really hope you're okay.
Yes.
What you're going through is it's
more common than you might realise, but
common.
Definitely just
and well done for writing in as well. That's so brave. Okay, on to the next one. Oh, I love this one. How do you make people understand that you're not being a psycho and it's your hormones?
Coni can answer that because I'm not a psycho.
Oh, well, I think sort of embrace the psycho is sort of my approach. No, I think that let me think about how to answer this. So I think that being called quote unquote hormonal or a psycho, all these kinds of things, they're just these negative connotations to kind of like belittle what women are experiencing. So I actually think what's really cool and empowering is to teach people about the menstrual cycle. So like it's actually so cool. Like women get this like monthly reminder of what's going on, and we feel different in different ways, and we've got superpowers at different ways. And I think that if we're just focusing on, maybe the couple of days a month where the hormones have got a bit too much and we're, crying and whatever, which like I'm there with you, like I'm 100% that. But if we just focus on that part, then it can be seen like a negative thing. And actually, if we look at the whole month, like it's incredible. Like, what do you mean that there's like a part of my cycle that I would be more likely to get a raise or like a job or whatever, like because my communication skills are better? Like, what do you mean there's like a part of my cycle that I'm more likely to attract like a partner? Like that is so cool.
I wish I'd known all of this when I had periods.
And it's so amazing. And so it's like, actually, when you explain that to people, or even just yourself, and you're just like, yeah, okay, maybe there's a couple of days that I'm not my best, but the rest of the time I've got superpowers going on.
It just feels like woo-woo, doesn't it?
Totally.
It feels like total woo-woo.
But it's also science.
It's science, and it's so interesting. And I think like that's when I go into schools and I'm teaching the girls. So I was just saying to you earlier, wasn't I? I was like, I try and explain to the girls a bit about the menstrual cycle. And so I'm just, and to do that, you've got to explain about hormones. And obviously when you're talking to girls that are younger, it can be a little bit of information overload. So I try and make it like really simple. I'm like, let's talk about the pop girls. So I say estrogen is your Sabrina Carpenter and your Taylor Swift.
Gorgeous.
And progesterone is your Billie Eilish and your Olivia Rodrigo. So it's like Taylor and Sabrina are like sparkly and fancy and like out on stage. And then Olivia's a bit more angry and Billie's a little bit more insular.
Yeah.
And so I explain the hormones like that. And then I'm like, so the first half of your cycle, you're going to feel like Taylor Swift and Sabrina Carpenter.
Bit softer.
A bit more like...
whimsical.
Yeah, and happier and kind of more energised. And then in the second half of the cycle, you're going to feel like Billie Eilish and Olivia Rodrigo.
A bit more of a rock star.
Yeah, and that's still cool.
That's still cool.
Because you don't take any shit in your leadership phase, which I love.
Yeah.
I love as well when you explain about the fact that like working out around your period as well. So sometimes you've got to take it a little bit easier.
Yeah.
So you just like do a bit of yoga, a bit of walking, a bit of stretching.
And you'll be better at different things.
Yes.
So anyway.
And what's that other stat that you say? So when you're on your period, your reactions are quicker.
Yeah, we talk about that. Yeah, your reactions are quicker on your, again, like this, the studies are really small, but like your anticipation skills are better and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, I think that when I stopped like being embarrassed talking about my hormones and my cycles, when I geeked out on this and I like learned all about it.
And you start to harness it.
And you start to harness it and you start to realise it's really cool.
You also then have a bit of a fight for when someone does call you a psycho. Because I'm sorry, if anyone around me could dared called me a psycho before my period now, oh my God, they'd be out the room in a second.
Take them down.
Exactly.
I don't want them near me.
But you've got all this information and you've got all this stuff. And I think like, it's I guess it's about reclaiming it a little bit. It's just like, I'm not going to be just told like, oh, women are so hormonal. You're like, yeah, I actually am. Yeah. Let me sit you down and give you a TED talk on why I'm so hormonal.
Olivia Rodrigo.
Yeah, because I've actually got all this stuff, and
so women have women's hormones. Our lives go up and down like that, don't they? Yeah. Men are just like
they have a 24-hour.
They have a 24-hour cycle, so it's completely different. So so I would say if people are being dismissive or rude about that sort of thing, I would say sit them down and bombard them with information.
I would.
That's what I do.
I would. And do you know what I would? If someone is calling you a psycho, especially within your relationship,
get rid.
I would. I would reach out to one of your friends and have a conversation about whether your partner is supporting you in other areas.
Was it their partner? I didn't even hear that bit.
Well, no, they didn't say partner. They just said, how do I make people understand? Yeah. So it could be your partner or your family, but I just think...
And again, partners are a really interesting one because like if you can bring like a partner on the journey of understanding like hormonal cycles, like my husband is so great now because he'll be like, I'll be a bit tired and he's like, hey, have you just gone into your luteal phase?
He understands.
Like, how much nicer is that rather than like, oh, you're due on your period, you're being really moody. It's like,
the painters in town, are they?
Whereas now he's like, oh, have you just entered your luteal phase? I can sense that you are a bit tired today.
I also love when I had a partner, it's like Stardust, how you can connect it up and see if your partner's seen your daily like forecast. So you can see every day you get a forecast being
this is where they're at.
Today you're bloated and you're constipated, and it will be like, it will send one to your partner to basically be
that's
like,
great.
And I'd be like, I used to be like to Dylan, I'd be like, why haven't you looked at my Stardust?
Also love Stardust because if you're going to use an app, don't use one that's going to sell your data.
Exactly. Amen to that. Amen to that. Okay, we are now on to our quick fire questions, which I've tried to say 50 times and I can't say. Quick fire questions. Are you ready to feel fiery?
Yes.
Yes, in your
luteal
year
of the fire horse.
It is. Oh my God, happy year of the fire horse, everyone, by the way. This is the first episode in the fire horse. So best episode
Oh my
yet,
God,
obviously.
that's why it's been out the gate.
I know. So do you want to answer, should we do one, there's three.
Oh my God.
Let's do one
and then one together.
One together. So the first one, I'm going to put this out to Kelly. One change you'd make to the healthcare system.
I would change, and this is not going to be very quick, but I would change the fact that the women just aren't listened to. That's what makes me really mad, is we're just poo-pooed all the time.
Yeah.
So I would change the fact that women need to be listened to and not poo-pooed, basically.
Okay, great.
Sorry, that was it.
Believe women.
Believe us. Believe in yourself.
We're not lying.
Remember Arthur?
Should I have sung it?
You should. No, I totally agree with you. But yeah, start listening because we actually have quite a lot of good things to say, I think.
Yeah. And we know our bodies better than anyone.
That's exactly it. That's what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
That wasn't very quick fire.
Coni, if you could meet your younger self and give them like a little letter, that just had like maybe a paragraph or something on there or a word or anything, you could just hand them over something, what would it say?
I think it would say that the things that people try and make you feel bad about are often your superpower. And I think that can be a personality thing, but I think it can also be all the stuff we talked about today, like hormones and being open. And, because when I was at school, I kind of grew up really open. And I think some people are like, who is this girl that's like just weirdly open, like talking about stuff? And it can make you shrink. But I think actually we need more of that in life. So I think just, and again with hormones, harness the things that make people try to make you feel silly and small about, which I think people do with women all the time.
Yeah.
And actually they're probably the things that are going to make your life so much happier and fuller if you embrace them.
And make you.
Exactly.
As well. I love that. I really love that. Okay, last one. What are your biggest personal health challenges you've faced?
Oh God, I think we've talked about.
I feel like we've
How
already
long
touched
have we
on this,
got?
Just give me a list.
I think mine was just the whole not knowing what was wrong with my body and then being diagnosed with all of these things. And actually still now I've got a lot of stuff medically going on with me. And there's obviously something underlying and we still don't know what that is. And we've actually got a junior doctor living with us at the moment.
Oh, amazing.
No foster children. We just have another child that's come to live with us. And he talks about looking for zebras. So looking for none of the doctors that only one doctor recently is looking out of the box, not just looking at treating the symptoms that I've got, but looking at why I have the symptoms that I have.
Look at them all together. Like how could they be linked?
Because I've got so many different things going on with me at the moment, and she's actually looking at everything as a whole rather than individually what's going on with me. So I'm really fit and healthy. I feel really fit and healthy, but I feel like I've had one thing after another since I was 14 wrong with me.
That's so tiring.
It's really tiring, and like just having I feel like now I was going to answer that second question because I had a word for that. Audacious, I feel like I am being more audacious. I'm standing up for myself. I'm not just accepting what people are saying.
You're not taking it lying down anymore.
I'm not, no. Even though I was at the hospital for 10 hours the other week and nobody was listening to me, I was audacious. And in the end, I got what I thought I needed, which I didn't need, but because nobody was looking into it. But that was because I was audacious and I stood up for myself. But I still haven't got answers, but it's by the by. Eventually we'll get there. Yeah.
And I think mine is, I think that the link between hormones and mental health, I think there just needs to be so much more understanding and support out there, because also, are we looking at everything else that's going on? Like, are we talking about these other kind of options? And I think that, again, luck of the draw, as we've talked about quite a lot today, I think you can get people that really understand to ask about the subtleties of what's going on with you. And I just think I'd like to see more of that, I think, in healthcare. I think that we need to be able to look at things holistically, as well as when do we need to put medication into
I would say take a bit from both.
Totally. And exactly. And I think I was talking to someone the other day and they were saying about PMDD, and their doctor, I think, was giving them medication at certain points in the cycle, or, you know, and obviously like with the amazing stuff that Evelyn have, like, I think it's like, how can we just support our bodies? But I think we have to really understand that link between hormones and mental health before we can know how to sort of treat these conditions. So that's definitely something that I'm like on a journey with at the moment. And I think because of your experience with menopause, like, I'm aware that I'm sort of like, I want to, but you know, I'm sort of like, right, I'm here now and my hormones are impacting my mental health. But if I don't sort that out at a foundational level, when I enter perimenopause, which could literally be in 5 years, or you know, it could be now, really, you know, like, I've got to know how to manage those things. And I don't think me going on antidepressants in the short term is just going to solve that. So I think it's like, I think for me it's looking at that holistic hormonal health piece and really how to support myself, and then where to get the support from the doctors when needed.
Wow, we're going to get there, girls.
The three of us are going to do it.
We're going to get there.
They're going to lock us in this podcast studio all afternoon until we figure it out.
Oh my goodness. We're going to wrap up now. Is there anything you want our listeners to take from this conversation today? I've had so much fun, honestly. It feels like we've been sat in a bar. I love it. But
if they take anything, I think pain is a sign from your body that something is not right. If you have painful, heavy periods, please don't ignore them. Please go and talk to someone about them, because it's probably a sign.
Like me until you're 39.
Don't wait.
And for me, it's arm yourself with as much information as you can.
Educate yourself and be able to be strong enough to advocate for yourself. And if you can't, take somebody with you. It's always like, I've always said, you know your body better than anybody else. So, you know, just make sure that you're firm and you can get your word across, and just be strong. And if you ever need anything, just reach out, because we love to help people.
And think about the products that you're putting. I think let's just like let's learn to care about our periods in like a nice way. So let's listen to what they're telling us, but also how do we manage them? And I think period care is really, really important when it comes to that. So
Yeah.
You can check out Nixi's or our friends at other brands.
Do you want to give us your app?
At Nixi Body, Nixi Body. And I mean, it's generally me and Kel hanging out in the DM. So genuinely, if anyone ever has any questions, then we are always happy to chat.
Yeah.
We are open books. We've got an open door policy.
And I think we know you're an open book.
If you haven't got that, if you're not sure,
I love you guys.
Oh, thank you so much
for coming on.
It's
love
been lovely.
you guys. And that's a wrap on another Hormonal Hotline episode. Please be sure to subscribe and please click the bell to get notifications. We cannot wait to have you back, and thank you so much for coming.